This is part 2 of the quadrupedal walking machine I started, well, in part 1, and it's going to be about this big, which is big enough to ride on, and somehow I'm going to ride on it, either lying on it or sitting on it, and I'm not sure. So this is quite a unique design because it's going to have joints which pick up its legs diagonally and put them down again, and then another slider that moves two sections across each other or rotates them, and that's how it's going to translate or rotate to walk. So quite a few challenges. This is going to be ongoing development, but today we're going to put together the whole assembly. In part 1 I made this gearbox, which is extremely strong, which I called an inside-out planetary gearbox, but isn't really. It's 2 stages, but with multiple stages and with multiple motors, so we mesh lots of teeth. We lifted lots of mass and it was really good, so now we've got to make another 3 and all the other parts.
Now, a key part about this project is it needs to be really strong, so of course I can ride on it. So I'm printing these parts with a 1.2mm nozzle, so thanks to Lolsbot 3D printers who supported my channel for over 11 years now. They've also got a 2.4mm nozzle kit, but I haven't used it for anything yet. Some of these parts are printed with a 0.5mm nozzle for the finer gears, and this time we've got some new parts, again printed with a 1.2mm nozzle to make all the joints of the legs. And I've got 11 printers, which is why these 2 are on the ground.
I've pretty much printed all the parts, which are in all these bins, obviously to make 3 more gearboxes, and then all of these ends which we're going to use to go and make the joints for all the legs. So thanks to Polymaker, who support my channel with filament now. So we've got Polymax PLA, which are all the small gears and things, which are really important, that they're really tough. And then we've got Polylite Pro, which is for all of the bigger parts, which make up the main chassis. Now I know there's quite a lot of shout outs of brands in these videos, obviously Lolsbot, Polymaker, but basically I couldn't make the projects without them. There'd be no rideable ATATs and no ball bikes if it wasn't for some brands helping me with some of the materials, which, you know, they're relevant, they're actually used in the build. So on that note, thanks to Simply Bearings for the bearings for this project. Check out simplybearings.co.uk. If you want it, they stock it. Right, let's get on with the assembly.
We've got 6 motors, and that's 2 for each one, and these are 100:1 ratio gearheads, so they already have a gearbox on them, and that's how we've got such a high ratio. And of course those mesh with the 3 intermediate gears, and those mesh with the big gears which fit in between them, so we've got lots of teeth meshing and lots of torque, and that's why this is so good. I'm using T-nuts and extrusion to put this whole thing together as before, so we can slide in T-nuts in the slots in the extrusion and just put bolts in through the 3D prints, and I've left these heads recessed, and that's how we're going to put the whole thing together. So these are the main gearbox chunks, and then we've got the opposite piece that holds the other end of the axle, again with 4 of those bolts into the extrusion. That leaves us with the 3 gearboxes and the opposing parts to hold the other end of the axle, all with their 40/40 extrusions attached.
So there's gearboxes, and the opposite part that goes behind it that holds the other end of the axle have all got their extrusions attached. So now we just need to join those together to make it rigid so the axle's held. I'm going to do that with some more 40/40 and some metal T-brackets. Love making stuff out of structural aluminium like this extrusion. It's really easy to put together because you can just print brackets and screw them on, or you can get aluminium brackets off the shelf for it, internal corners, all of those sorts of things. And then you can just build your whole project like a giant construction kit. And if you want to use it again, then you can just cut it up with a hacksaw and make something else out of it.
My main output gears are bolted onto some more 40/40 extrusion, and that's also keyed into the square axle that goes all the way through the gearbox and attached with metal plates and more T-nuts and some bolts, so that should be super strong. We do need to just make sure these little intermediate gears are braced against the output as well, so I've got this piece that fits on with another massive bearing on the output shaft, and everything's held on there with collar clamps. The other end of the axle is also attached with 2 metal plates, top and bottom, and then the 2 output sticks on either end of the axle are attached with a big H piece and more metal brackets.
There's actually 4 of these being assembled, and they feel extremely chunky and strong with all these metal T-brackets. So the top of this fits to the actual robot, and the bottom is then actually going to make basically a bit of the leg with a sort of knee joint, using these blocks with bearings on each side that we'll come on to a bit later. But before I start building the structure of the robot, we should probably talk about what on earth I'm building. There's a lot of explanation in part 1 about how this works and how it's different from the ATAT, which was very slow and only walked at 1 metre a minute, which is 60 metres an hour, which is 0.02 miles an hour. So this is going to be substantially quicker, and to do that, basically what we're going to do is just have legs that go up and down on one axis with one motor, and then they slide this way with another motor, and that means we can just pick them up, move them along and move them down again. That's how it's going to walk. And that's going to be much quicker than calculating the hip and knee angles like we did with the ATAT and the inverse kinematics, and having those feet all moving slowly backwards while one takes a step. So check out part 1 for the full explanation. However, what we don't really want is some sort of telescopic leg. I'd still like it to look like it bends like a leg. And you'll notice, of course, what we've made with these gearboxes is a rotary motion. So we need to go and transfer the rotary motion to basically an up and down motion which goes in the straightest line possible. If we think about a traditional leg where we've got a lower leg, an upper leg and some sort of chassis, and we've got a hip and a knee joint and maybe an ankle joint, and we want to move the foot in a perfectly straight line up and down, this is pretty much how the ATAT works and the robot dogs, and they had independent motors, and they need those not only to take steps, of course, but because these are actually different angles. So as I move this up, this angle's a lot sharper than this one, and as we go down, then basically one of them moves pretty much half the distance of the other one, and so it makes it very difficult to tie these together mechanically with one motor, which is what I want to do. So the logical explanation seems to be some sort of parallel link where everything's tied together, but actually what we need to do is fit something to the chassis. So we need to fit this here and have a foot that moves, and of course, no matter how we do it, we never get a straight line at all. We get these arcs. Even if I put this at 45 degrees, then this foot here kind of moves at a weird angle. It's really hard to get this at the right angle. We can never get the foot to move in a straight line. And that's because these angles basically need to be different and tied together here. They're all the same. So the best I could come up with is this, where some of these bars on our 4-bar length are different lengths. And that means if we fit this at 45 degrees, then our foot almost goes in a straight line. It's not quite perfect, there's a bit of an arc to it, but it's good enough, and that means we can have one motor driving any of these joints with a rotary motion, and our foot pretty much goes up and down in a straight line.
That does leave us with another problem, which is that if we have flat feet on this, they won't stay parallel with the ground. They will be flat at some point, but they won't be parallel as they go up and down. However, these are temporary feet. The plan for the actual feet is to have round profile feet or compliant toes or something like that that can do multi-terrain. That does cause another problem though, which is it has to balance on its corners while the other 2 feet are in the air, but that's tomorrow's problem.
Have you ever thought about getting metal parts made like these metal plates that I'm using to assemble this project? Well, I got these parts made at PCBWay, who are the sponsor for this video. PCBWay is a one-stop shop for PCB manufacturing, assembly, but also other types of manufacturing services, including contract manufacturing, all under the same roof. PCBWay manufactures all sorts of printed circuit boards, but PCBWay don't just make PCBs, they also provide parts manufacturing services, including online CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication, 3D printing and injection moulding. PCBWay's 3D printing services include SLS, SLA, DLP, FDM in a variety of materials, including various resins, nylon, PLA, ABS, TPU, PEEK and more. There are various surface finishes available, including painting and even electroplating. These parts are just 2D aluminium parts that I had made by PCBWay's sheet metal fabrication service, but obviously they can do 3D parts as well. And their CNC machining services include a wide variety of materials, including aluminium, stainless steel and various plastics. They can also fit inserts and tap threads, and provide a whole variety of surface finishes, including brushing, painting, powder coating, bead blasting, anodizing and detail sanding. Find out more now at PCBWay.com, and I'll put that link in the description to this video as well.
I need to put some pivot points through some of the extrusion in certain places, so I've had these plates made with a hole. I've bolted that onto the T-slots, and then I'm just going to drill through both walls of the extrusion with a big 10mm drill. And that means the hole goes perfectly through and it's in the right place in the middle of the extrusion, and it's nice and square. Some of these parts have pivot points on the end, these particular ones don't, they just have holes to put a 10mm bar through, and that's because they meet some others which do, and we only need the bearings on one part. I've made sure everything is square by putting the bars through, and then we've got some T-brackets to put some H-pieces across, and that means it's all going to be rigid and super square, and all my pivot points align with everything else.
That's looking super rigid with all those aluminium plates back and front. It's actually quite lightweight, mostly being aluminium and 3D prints, apart from the steel screws of course. And we've got 4 of these, as we have with many of the other parts, because we've got 4 legs.
There's a bunch of other things built in fours. These are some of the plates that I drilled through earlier, and we've got big and small ones with these curves on, and these are actually the pieces that make the very top of the leg, and those are attached to the main body of the robot. That itself is split in two though, and we need to first of all attach two legs diagonally to this big assembly. The other two legs slide and rotate across these two legs, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Right, so we've got this piece which has got 6mm aluminium plate back and front, or top and bottom, so it's quite substantial, although it's not too heavy actually. On the back we countersunk all of those bolts because this section is going to rotate through this hole against the next section, and it's also going to slide. And to make it rotate we're going to use a lazy Susan bearing top and bottom and a big shaft through the middle. Got the first piece installed here with the first pivot point that goes across here, and of course this goes to the motor, and this is where my temporary feet are going to go. And then we've got this piece which pivots on there, and that's going to make the whole leg assembly. All my pivot points are made of 10mm steel bar, and I've got these little spacers in between the parts, so this can't shift and it's just the right spacing. And then these pieces have bearings in each side, so we've got bearing, wall, bearing, and that means there's hardly any bend point for this bar. Now in the ATAT project we use 8mm steel bar, this is 10, so I'm expecting that to be more than strong enough. This one however is actually studding with some nuts on the end, and that's so I can easily unbolt it, and then I can disconnect this piece, we can fold the whole leg away for transport. That's that final joint in there, so this whole leg mechanism works now. So I've just got this speed controller, that's full speed. And that means that if the leg is touching the ground, or the foot is touching the ground, and we want to start taking a step, then we only really need to pick the foot up a tiny amount and it can start taking steps straight away. Then we can slide those legs forward and take steps, and that's going to make it fundamentally much quicker than the ATAT. If I just go full speed straight away, then that's actually going to be really quick to get the feet off the ground and get moving. Obviously it should be this way up with the feet touching the ground, but we need another two legs. Looks like it's going to be pretty interesting to ride though.
Here's one leg, and like the others, those are identical, but we've got two of those. Yeah, look at that, it looks awesome. I can't wait to power this thing up.
It's going to be pretty awesome to ride on. I can't wait to get this working, but we're going to just have to do some rudimentary testing this time.
Eventually, of course, we need the two sets of legs to slide against each other and also rotate against each other so that we can take steps and turn on the spot. Additionally, I've got another sliding piece which is going to have me on so I can slide it to balance. But for now, we're just going to fit the two sets of legs together for a little bit of testing.
So that's looking pretty awesome. It's pretty solid, but we really want to know if these legs are going to hold it up when two pick up to take steps, and also if it can hold me, but we've got no position control or anything, or any ability to actually walk at the moment. I've got my speed controller though, so we can get some power to diagonal legs and see what it will do. Right, so let's get these diagonal legs up. There we go, that's that. And I'll connect this to the other legs. Now I should be able to push those up to sort of lift it. Then we can get this trestle out. We've just got a little bit of holding power there at the moment. So that is currently holding itself. But can I get on it, and will it hold me on two legs, or will it collapse? No, that seems absolutely fine. That's going to hold me fine on two legs. And I should be able to ride it eventually. And all we really need to do is hold two diagonal legs on the ground and hold the rest of the robot up while the other two shift and then go down again and take steps. Then at that point they stay on the ground and the other two do the same thing. Did you like the ball bike or screw bike projects? Well, I've got new merchandise, including t-shirts, bags, water bottles, art prints, stickers and jigsaws for people who really like jigsaws. The products are all made with sustainability in mind, and the designs are drawn by a real artist, Terry Cooper Design, who does the rest of my channel graphics, not by AI. So check out the link to my new merch store in the description to this video.